Hey mages, welcome to today's MTG Arena video. Today I'm going to give you some really cool budget decks. This time the format is for Historic. So I covered Explorer recently, so if you want to see that video, go and check it out. But it's good to look at some other formats. Now, you know we're primarily a standard format channel, but you know when a certain format gets a bit stale, it's nice having a look at some other formats. But if you don't want to go full-fledged into it, spending loads of money in wildcards, it's good to maybe have a few decks to test out and see if you like the format. So when I've looked at a lot of decks on Historic, as usual, the meta decks 25, 30 plus rares. So I've tried to keep them under 10. I've even got a deck here with 0 rares. So make sure you stay to the end to watch have a little look at that deck, because it's it's a lot of fun to play. So we're going to go and take a look at those decks now. First of all, I just want to say thank you for all your support in the videos, all the new subs. Welcome to Total MTG. By liking, commenting that, it really does show YouTube that we want to share the videos out, and it does help the channel a huge bunch. I've got a 15,000 subscriber giveaway coming next week, so that's another good reason to subscribe. If you want to go that bit further, please check out my Patreon. Becoming a Patreon supports me, and it really does help me make lots more videos. And if you're a paper Magic player, check out Cardmarket, and you can buy and sell, trade all your cards. They're the world's biggest card marking trading place on the world. So without further ado, all that gunfire out of the way, let's get on to look at the decks. So the first deck we have today is a budget deck. It has just 10 rares in it, and it's a Dimir Lurrus deck. Now, Lurrus of the Dream Den is a 3-2. You're going to have this as your companion. Each permanent card in your start deck has to have mana value 2 or less. This is a 3-2 with lifelink. Once during each of your turns when this is on the battlefield, you may cast a permanent spell with mana 2 or less. So this Dimir Lurrus deck is based around rogues and based around a rogue tribal deck and mill as well. Because when you look at the rogues in the deck, like Thieves Guild Enforcer, when this or another rogue enters the battlefield, each opponent mills 2 cards, and this can be pumped up to be 2/1 extra power and toughness, so it'll be a 3-2, and we'll also give it Death Touch as well. So a great little card that can come in and be flashed in as well. Mirk Wind Robber is another rogue. When it does combat damage to player, you get to mill a card. So this deck really does screw with opponents' hands and everything they want to do and what they might be crafting or what they put on the top of their library or anything like that. If there's scrying abilities and put something they might need, you could be able to scry a really good card out the way as well. The mill plan. This isn't a rogue, but the Crab is a definite good card from this. You might remember this sort of deck in Standard if you've been playing Standard for a while. So if you did enjoy it, you can put it together in Historic for 10 rares or under. So this is a 10 rare version. When I say under, you could take away the lands and then make it super budget. But then for me, it won't be as consistent because we do run 4 Watery Grave in here. This comes in, you can pay 2 lives to it, can come in untapped, which is great if you want to get your turn 1 plays down, your Wind Robber, your Crab, or just leave up mana for the Enforcer to flash in potentially as well. So like I said, won't be as consistent without this, but you could drop 4 rares and give it a try if you want to just, ease your way in and you haven't got the Watery Grave in the deck as well. The other rogue, Soaring Thought Thief, this has flash as well, so we're playing like a control deck. We have some removal, bit of counter magic in this deck as well. It was always a very awkward deck to play against, I always found in Standard. So playing it Historic, and I can't see why it won't be much different. Historic is wild. I lost to a turn 2 deck the other day that just totally annihilated me. That I will put up for everyone's hilarity, I think, on a short this week, just so you can see what happened to me. I did not know what was going on. But this is Flash Flying 1/3. As long as opponents 8 or more cards in the graveyard, it gets an extra pump for the rogues, so they get +1/+0. And whenever 1 or more rogues you control attack, each opponent mills 2 cards. So bit more of the mill plan in this deck. And that's it for the creatures we have. We have 15 creatures and 22 non-creature spells in this deck with a CMC average of the 2.5. Now, what else is in the deck? Well, we have cards like Essence Scatter as a single of counter-target creature spell. There's Drowning Lock that can counter-target spell. Has a thematic theme to this deck with Drowning the Lot because it's equal to the number of cards in controller's graveyard. So early on might not be as good, but later on can, basically counter anything. But it can also be used as a destroy spell. But that again is based around the graveyard. But still, Drowning the Lot works brilliantly in this deck. We also have Didn't Say Please, more counter magic. Two of these in there. Counter spell, controller then mills 3 cards. So thematic on theme with the deck again. And then we go for some card draw. So of One Mind, spell costs 2 less to cast if you control a human creature and a non-human creature. Well, we got human rogues, and we got Merfolk rogue, so that could be very good in this deck, of course, and it gets us to draw 2 cards potentially for 1 mana. Into the story, in there is a 4 of 3 less to cast. Opponent has 7 more cards in the graveyard, which generally they will have with this. So then we get to draw a massive 4 cards, and this card really does bring you back into the game and help you find what you need when you've spilled out all your all your cards. So into the story, perfect for this deck. What else in the deck do we have? We have Lol Mage's Domination. So this again, 3 less to cast. You see the theme of this deck. We need to get cards into the graveyard. This is 8 or more cards. Then we gain control of target creature with mana value X. Now, when you're paying 3 less, because you've always got to pay the 3 blue pips for this, so then potentially you're getting something 6 or less. So it's so good. Gain control of that target creature with mana value X. Get it onto your side of the field, and it could be anything big, anything sweet, that can just win the game for you. We then have a bit of removal, Heartless Act. Destroy a target creature with no counters on it, or remove 3 counters from a target creature, which potentially sometimes can kill some of the X mana creatures that are coming in with just counters. So, it is a way to get around that as well. And then Agadeem is a spell land, return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that have a different mana value X or less. So, good way to get back all of our creature potential in case you need to get that crab to get the final bit of milling on as well. One card that I would, if you want to put this in your deck, obviously with Ruined Crab, cards like Fable Passage will be really good. So if you want to upgrade those lands, Fable Passage will then trigger twice with Ruined Crab. So if you want to get rid of some of those basics for that as well, that's another way to upgrade this deck because it would work very well with Ruined Crab and getting those double ticks with those lands in. So with this deck, as you can see from the spells, Lurrus, playing those mana values with 2 or less from the graveyard, putting those permanents back onto the battlefield, which is more recursion like Agadeem, so we can get our Saurian back, the Thieves, the Crab, the Merfolk, anything like that we can potentially get back onto the field as well. So it is really good that Lurrus in there. It's not essential for the deck to win, but it definitely helps out. Gives you a nice little creature. Cat Nightmare 3/2 with lifelink, and then the ability to bring back your rogues and start smashing in for the win or milling your opponent completely out is another good way to win with this deck. This is budget Dimir Lurrus Rogues. Very good if you like controlling sort of decks and you love a bit of mill, because I love a bit of mill. This is a deck for you. The next deck up is a combo deck. It's budget green, white, cocoa, so Selesnya. Collected Company is a card, if you craft, you'll be able to play in multiple different decks. This for Historic is a really good craft because you can play it in like mono green, you can play it in absolutely anything that just has a creature-based, creature-based deck. Look at the top 6 of your cards, put up to 2 creature cards with mana value 3 or less from them onto the battlefield. Rest on the bottom of your library, instant speed, leaving that mana up. This is what's really cool about this. Collected Company is a lovely, lovely card. And of course, all the creature cards in our deck are 3 mana or less, as you can see from this. 33 creatures in this deck because you want to be a high count because you want to be hitting it with Coco. 2.2 average, only the 3 non-creature spells, which is the Collected Company. Now, I'm going to say straight off, I always like to keep them 10 rares or under for these different types of formats like Historic, because it's a more powerful format than Standard, where Standard I can go 5 rares or less. We can get some wins and everything like that, which is why these sometimes are a little bit more. But like I said, stay tuned because I do have a 0 rare for you that you can have a lot of fun with. I would straight add in another Collected Company. And, that is just such a good card and powerful card. You really want 4 in these, but it does work with 3 because this has a combo in the deck that is just so, so cool. So you look at a card like Rosie, Cotton of South Lane. When South Lane ends the battlefield, create a food token. Whenever you create a token, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control other than Rosie. Scurry Oak. Whenever one or more 1/1 counters are put on Scurry Oak, you may create a 1/1 squirrel token. Squirrel? Didn't even say that right. So you can see the combination. Whenever you create a token, put a 1/1 counter. You put a 1/1 counter this, you create a token, you just go spamming ham, and you just keep doing it and keep doing it. If you've got other cards on there, like, you know, one more counter we put on a creature control, put that many +1/1 counters on. You've got other ways of putting more counters on and gaining life. You've got these whenever another creature enters battle, gain 1 life. It's just going to trigger other cards as well. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on it. This is a combo mad deck. Hilarious, absolutely hilarious to play. When I first did it, I was like, God, this, and it's just non-stop. So you just keep making those tokens. Now, sometimes your opponent will just keep letting you, like, well, they're just going to keep letting me doing this and keep doing it. So I'll build up a massive army. You look at the types of deck you're playing. If you're playing control, they'll let you do it, and then they just obliterate the board. Then that obviously can happen, but this is a great combo. Rosie from the Lord of the Rings set is sweet for this deck, and with Scurry Oak, it's just absolutely hilarious, making an absolute army of squirrels. This is one of the other rares in the deck, Voice of the Blessed. If you've got another one, just chuck the other one in. You know, I've kept this as a minimum to 10. But like I said, if you've got more of these, it won't hurt the deck by adding another one of these in. And I'd probably drop something like, you know, go down to 3 Lunate Veteran for, you know, making a space for a collected company or something like that. You don't want to be dropping these. You know, these are your combo. Daxos is in there. Toughness equal to the devotion to white whenever creature enters the battlefield or dies, you gain 1 life. So we've got so many different triggers to gain life, lose life. You will get up to so much life on this deck. And if you start comboing, you know, even if they do wrath you, you're going to build up, you know, with a certain types of cards on the deck, on the battlefield, sorry, you are going to build up a huge amount of life. So they will have to take their time and kill you. But hopefully, with the amount of creatures in this deck, 33, you'll be able to build up the army, or maybe even the combo again, and then just get in your wins potentially if you can. Voice of the Blessed, when this gets all the counters on and becomes a massive potential 10/10 flying vigilance indestructible, you know, can get the job done, shall we say. So yeah, this is a really cool life gain combo deck. Rosie Scurry, really cool. The other 4 rares are in the Temple Gardens. We got 4 of these in there. Like the Watery Grave in the previous deck, makes the deck stronger, be able to get your turn 1 play potentially, and if you don't have one of your basics. We do have Blossoming Sands in there because it gains life and can trigger effects in there. So this is, you know, just a very good budget card for potentially for this deck, because we can build up to the combo. It's not essential that we get the turn 1 Lunac or Soul into play. But Temple can help us if we need to get that turn 2, turn 3 card into play, which is what we want, or leave up the mana for the collected company. But I would definitely give this deck a go if you can. It's a lot of fun. You may already have Voice of the Blessed if you've been playing Standard for a while, so you may already have this in your collection. So, be some good cards to craft. So this rare is very good, and you definitely will be able to play Collected Company in multiple decks. So the last deck we have is 0 rares, and it is a Golgari Mirkwood Bats deck. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. This is all about sacking artifacts, sacking creatures, just sacking anything, tokens, whatever you can do. It's just really good. So we need ways to make tokens and have a lot of fun with this deck. Tireless Provisioner. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a food token or treasure token. So there is some brilliant sackable fodder for the deck. There's so much in this deck that can be sacked and do lots of shenanigans. Trail of Crumbs will enter the battlefield and create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food token, pay 1, look at the top 2 cards, you'll reveal a permanent card, put it into your hand. Now, we do have 20 creatures and 16 non-creatures in this deck, a low CMC of 2.0. So plenty of ways to make stuff. So we're going to have a look at other ways. So Shambling Ghast can come in, can block, kill a creature potentially if it's a small one, or make a treasure. Brilliant. Many Parties, search your life for a basic land, put it in your hand, create a food token. So we are, finding the best ways in common and uncommon to make tokens with this deck, so we can just keep going and draining our opponent with the Mirkwood Bats. That is the idea of this deck. We also have Peregrine Took. If one or more tokens were created under control, those tokens plus an additional one. And we can sacrifice 3 foods to draw a card. Now, when you sacrifice 3 foods, this is whenever you sacrifice a token. So we're going to drain for 3 life as well and then get to draw a card. So with all the abilities and ways to make food tokens and everything like that, Peregrine is just absolutely brilliant for using for that effect as well. Now we have Revive the Shire. We can return target permanent card from the graveyard to your hand, and this is what you're really looking for. It does make the food token as well, but this is what you're looking for to get back your Mirkwoods when they die. You need a bit of recursion because we're budget, and this deck is whole based around having the Mirkwoods on the field potentially, and then just draining and draining and draining your opponent. We do have protection for Mirkwood in Tamiyo Safekeeping. It will give it hexproof, indestructible, so it helps against target removal and wraths, and a little bit of life gain, and a great 1 mana spell. But this is what you're really protecting, unless you've got something else on the field that's building up, that's being massive, like a ravenous squirrel. This gets a 1/1 counter whenever we sack an artifact or a creature, and this can just turn into a massive beater, like smashing them with a squirrel. Also has the ability to pay 3, sack an artifact, a creature, gain 1 life, and draw a card. So this deck is just like synergy personified. It really is. It has so many sack effects and interactions when it does. Drawing cards, putting counters on, making tokens. It's just really good. And obviously your win con is your Mirkwood Bats. Also in the deck, Prosperous Incubator, that will come in, make a treasure, can have sometimes, ramp us into a Mirkwood a little bit easier if we can. And when another creature ends the battlefield under control, we gain a life as well. So life gain, drain as well, card draw, making tokens, loads and loads of different sack effects as well. Deadly Dispute. We can actually sack an artifact for this, then replace it with another treasure, so we can pay 2 mana, sack one of them, drain with Mirkwood. Potentially if it's a food we're sacrificing, pay 1, look at the top cards, Betrayal, and then just draw 2 cards as well. And it, like I said, it will reveal that sacked artifact if it's a treasure as well. So very, very, very good making tokens. I absolutely love this deck to play. Now, sometimes, you're going to get overpowered. Historic is a very powerful format. So, decks like this are very fun, but it gives you an intro into a format that you could take down some big skins with it eventually and just have some, you just won with 0 rares. So it's really cool. Looking at the land base, very basics, like I said, no rares, 5 swamps and 8 forests. We've got a couple of counties in there because they do make creature tokens, so we get a couple of plants in there. We've also got Elderfill that can pay 4, sacrifice it up to 1 target creature gets -2 to do. Create 2 elf tokens as well, so more fodder and more stuff to sack or block with. And then we have a bit of life gain, Jungle Hollow and Riveter's Overlook as well. Both ways to gain life, keep us in the game. And sacrificing effects. So, we do like sacrificing effects in this deck. And, Mirk Bats, get some wins with the crazy, crazy bat and drain your opponent for just 0 rares. So that was 3 budget historic decks for you. Let me know which ones you're going to play. I really appreciate, if you've got any ideas for decks as well, you want to add in some of your own cards, if you've got any ideas after seeing them, let me know in the comments as well. Give them a go. Take them to the ladder if you want. Take them to ranked. See if you can get some wins, especially with the first 2 decks. I think you'll do, you definitely get your share of wins in that. And if you want to take the 0 one there, let me know how high you get. I'd love it if you know. I've been having so much fun with the decks, and just dipping myself into Historic a little bit has been fun. It's good to mix it up, every now and again. While Standard sometimes gets a bit stale, or you're just having a bad run on Standard. You're just not getting the wins, and you fancy just playing something different for a while. If nothing's working over there, change formats and give that a try. That's it's always worth doing. So anyway, hope you enjoyed today's video. I will see you on the next one very soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will speak to you all later.